All right,
Yes, sir.
we are live. We already got people popping in here. Let's see. I'm going to switch sides here. Boom.
Hey.
Rodney. What's changed about me since last time you saw me?
Wow. Well, we're blessed, man. We're in 2024. The year is off to a great start. We're back. We're here with the This Way Network. Oh, and I have my TV talking in the background, which we don't need. No, be quiet. And we are having a good time. I'm very excited. Just landed a really great opportunity. It is something that is called the Hidden Star Learning. I'm the national spokesman for Hidden Star Learning, and it's a wonderful gentleman out of Texas, and so he created a master class that teaches people how to get into business, and so he's looking at packaging this for the underserved. A lot of people say, well, I want to do better for myself. I want to kind of pull myself up by the bootstraps. And I've got a great idea. I make awesome cookies. I want to have my own janitorial service. Whatever the business it is, this masterclass will teach you everything you need to know. It's a 5.5 hour class, and it will teach you all the facts. It gets down to the nitty gritty of how to create your own business and how to be
How to build a
successful
business. Nice.
and maintain it. So that's one of the biggest news. Just working with great people, man. I'm just so blessed and just been doing some great things with cool people. Ernest Harden Jr., he's an actor. And you might remember Haywood Nelson from What's Happening.
Mm-hmm.
He's, we're all, kind of starting this nice little network of people and got a vision for some great projects. Launched with a Christian partner of mine, KJBM Radio. So we are playing the best of beautiful music. So it's things like that we're building and kind of putting the building blocks and praying and moving on down the road.
It is that's the walk of faith, is one step in front of the other, making sure your heart is in the right place, right? You
Yeah.
love the Lord, but He's given you gifts, He's given you talents, He's given you abilities, and what's the proper stewardship of those? How to bless others in the Spirit of the
Indeed.
Lord. Rodney, how's it going,
Mm-hmm.
Nina? You guys are going strong over there.
Hey, you know what? Nina is just fantastic. Great co-host. We're on the chat session every Monday at 8:30 a.m. And we, Nina's just a great person. Again, she's got a great heart and cares about people and America and all the good stuff that we all should. And but very intuitive. She's always thinking of great questions, and we're trying to book the best people that we can on our Monday show. And I thank you for the opportunity, you being the big kahuna who kind of headed this whole thing up, and it's good that we are all here together, and I appreciate that opportunity.
Well, I haven't talked to you in a while, and so very much looking forward to this. Just to see your face, man, and hear your voice. I
Oh
love you,
man.
brother. I'm so grateful that we have become friends. I got to put something up here on the screen though, but somebody in the comment section.
Sure.
Wait.
Oh, come on. Hey, that
I
you
didn't
got
have this
cool
hair
hair.
last time you saw me.
Hey, I'm kind of letting my do grow out. See, this is my winter coat. See, during the winter, I kind of let my fro grow out because it kind of keeps my little head warm. And then summertime, I can cut it back. That's what you call new hair growth. See, we're blessed. Some folks can't grow a fro, but I can.
Exactly,
Thank you,
right?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Well,
Thank you.
I met with a guy. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
name drop here. In fact, this will be transition to our topic. So I'm going to name
Mm.
drop a guy.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Howard Kazanjian?
Howard Kazanjian. That name seems so familiar. Howard Kazanjian.
Some people
The
may
name
recognize
rings.
it, some people don't. So
Mm-hmm.
he was George Lucas's buddy in college, and then George hired him as the first, first VP of Lucasfilm, and he was the executive
Oh
producer
yeah,
of Return of the Jedi, and was the executive producer on Raiders of the
got
Lost
it,
Ark. So
got it, got
that
it.
that guy. So he's a godly Christian in Hollywood, and I met
Wonderful.
with him in the summertime, and I had this long hair back then, and I was a little
Oh,
nervous. I was a little nervous.
uh-huh.
I'm like, do I put a hat on? Do I cover it up? What do I do? This is a respected guy, because I read his biography, right? He's got this thick biography that's written by the official Star Wars biographer. So this guy's
You
legit.
got it.
And I read, and that book, reading his biography, is like a lesson. It's like a class in the history of Hollywood. And I read it, and I'm like, he's portrayed as very, always wore suits on the set, right?
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
It's today, but I mean, not with a tie all the time, but it's very put together.
Yeah.
So I was a little
Right.
intimidated to meet with him for many
Mm-hmm.
reasons. But I said, I'm just going to wear it down. So wear my hair. And I even brought it up in our meeting. I'm like, I was a little nervous. And he's like, no, because he's bald. He's lost it all. He's like, no.
Oh, okay.
If you got it, do it. So,
There you
and he's
go.
80 years old. So there, Howard Kazanjian has approved.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to transition to
Mm-hmm.
Christians in Hollywood, and I'll just tell a little anecdote from Howard's biography. Right. So as
Sure.
a Christian, if you're called to Hollywood, does that mean
Mm-hmm.
you're called to every director or actor or script supervisor that you run into? Say, do you know Jesus? Do you know Jesus? Right? Are you supposed to walk on a set just going, hey, do you know Jesus? Right? That's the
Yeah.
mentality some people think. Is like, if you're a Christian in Hollywood, you need to be
Mm-hmm.
telling every person you meet about Jesus. Well, Howard Kazanjian didn't do that. And Howard
Right.
Kazanjian, and here's the thing. When I read his biography, because that was in the back of my mind, I'm like, was he always a Christian, or is it later in his life that he's really, turned it up,
Mm.
or did he always live as a Christian? And I was reading through the
Okay.
biography, and it's on page, I think it's 292, and
Wow.
he's talking about the day that they were going to shoot the scene where in Return of the Jedi, at the very end of Return of the Jedi, where you have
Mm-hmm.
the ghost of Yoda, the ghost of Obi-Wan
Oh.
Kenobi, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have the ghost of Anakin, right? The ghost of Darth Vader, right? Uh,
Oh.
Remember the scene? So the day before that, George says, we're going to shoot that scene tomorrow. We're going to shoot the ghost, the spirit form of Obi-Wan Kenobi and
Okay.
Yoda. And Howard
Got it.
says to George, you know, maybe you should make room to put Darth Vader there as well, because he repented at the end, right? Or he turned to the good. And George just looked at Howard, and this is his habit, right? This is what Howard or George had a habit of not really responding. He just kind of look. So he's taking it and processing it. And then that night, Howard was having second thoughts. It's like, well, Darth Vader's a pretty bad guy. I don't know if we should really put him up there, if that would make sense. And they showed up the next day, and lo and behold, George set it up to have it framed to have to have on
The
Anakin
shot.
Darth Vader in there as well. And
Wow.
Howard said to George, he's like, is that, are you sure you want to do that? And George Lucas said to Howard, well, that's what your religion is all about, isn't it? Forgiveness and redemption. George
Wow.
Lucas said that to Howard Kazanjian, which told me that they were
Wow.
lifelong friends from college. From college, they were lifelong friends. And
Mm-hmm.
Howard Kazanjian's Christianity was obvious to George Lucas, even in that moment in their careers working together, right?
Got it.
So we don't have to say Jesus to everyone we meet. We just need to live
No.
with integrity. We need to
There
live,
you go.
do
That's
the
right.
best that we're called to do our job, so that nobody can
Right.
hold anything against us, because we want anything that's good in us to reflect
Mhm.
positively on our faith. So
Right. That's powerful, brother. When you hear those type of stories, it is that's real. And you know what? I think that it's kind of funny. Funny you mentioned that. I think that of course we're always supposed to be out and winning souls and things like that. But I think the best way to do it in some way is to be almost like an agent. I really feel sometimes like a like a super agent, because sometimes the Lord will send you people who are hurting, the Lord will send you people will come in your pathway. You have so many opportunities to witness. And sometimes it ain't no, hey brother, can I pray for you? Let me lay hands on you. You know, some people, they get really spooked by that because you really do have that power. You really do have that wanting, that willingness to share. I mean, you're trying to pull them from despair into the light, but sometimes you have to just say, you know what? I need to be a friend to this person. I just need to be cool with this person. And when you hit those roads, those are those teaching moments. You know, when they say, hey man, you know, and you say, I can't go there with you on that. You know, say, listen, we're cool and everything like that. But that's, you know, see, and let me tell you why, you know, and then you can have a gentle roll in discussion. Now, there's some people who are like a sledgehammer. It's all about, hey, man, you know, you either you do this, you're going to hell, that type of thing. And so many people, as you see, if you look into the world, more and more people are sadly are trying to they're out searching and they're trying to find everything other than God and godliness or Jesus and redemption and salvation. They're saying, well, you know, I'm a pretty good person. I don't hurt nobody. I go to work. I'm just minding my own business here. Now, you know, I haven't done anything to anybody. Yeah, there's a lot of good people out there. Legit. I mean, they really are legit. Nice people. They're out saving poor little homeless cats. Great, great. Will that get you into the kingdom? That's a lot. Boy, you got to save a whole lot of kitties. You know what I mean? And I start thinking about that, and I'm like, well, and me personally, you know, I've always said that far from being perfect, far from being never going to be correct. So it's always course correction. I always try to kind of catch myself and hold it right. No, don't think that, and got to keep trucking, you know, and you know, when you have those little victories, you need to celebrate them. When you know you hit those forks in the road and you could say, yeah, I could have went that way, but I didn't. I didn't. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for that strength, you know, and you just kind of, whew, you know, somebody say something nasty to you and you're like, and you're like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Man, whoo, look at the time. I got to go. And you just kind of step away. And, you know, there's ways to really witness. There's so many levels of witnessing and walking. You know, matter of fact, there's a group I met here in LA, really cool thing. And I don't know what happened. I mean, it's been years, but they had a t-shirt and it was a crosswalk and they were called the Crosswalkers. And it was just an image of like a stick figure with a cross over his shoulder. And it was like this, it was like almost like a street sign. Really cool design. And I said, you know what? That's really what it's all about. Carrying your own cross. You got to walk this thing out. You've got to always be thinking. And being in Hollywood, I've already set my path. I said, there's certain things, I don't care how much money is offered, I'm not going to do it. There's certain things I just can't say. If you compromise, if they say, man, Rodney, we'll give you $1 million, $5 million to do this, I'm just like, I would say, can we talk about this? Is there any way that we can how can we rework this just a tad bit?
Let's do a rewrite.
Can we rewrite that one scene for something or that line that because I just can't. It's something that churns in me that I just said, because I know I would probably be tossing and turning, having night sweats, thinking, man, you said that, you did that, and you know, when you do as an actor, I don't know, like I said, as an actor, you're into so many people's homes, so many people's lives. That thing's gonna live on for now on, and
that's their impression of you, right? They get that one impression of you, right?
Yeah, and I kind of, and I just said, you know, but there's so, you know, the writers write, you know what I mean, and there's so many other ways. It doesn't always have to just dead into this thing that, you know, that becomes a serious compromise for the artist, be it in music, art, any kind of expression. It's just a thing that, you know, people have to make a personal choice of how far they will go. And they do have to realize the the impact on the other side. So I'm very aware of that. Very.
Well, a couple of things come to mind. Well, first of all, my wife has asked me that question. If you were cast in a part where you had to kiss someone, would you take that part? And
Oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
it's like it hasn't happened. Like,
Right.
I didn't even put much thought into it at the time. It was like a passing conversation, but it would
Yeah.
be an issue, right? It's like I'm a happily married man, but then
Yeah.
also when you are a Christian telling stories, when you are, say you're a part of, for example, Sound of
Hmm.
Freedom. Did you see that movie Sound of Freedom by any chance? Sound of Freedom
Yes.
was
Yes. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Great movie.
so there's a film that's made by, I mean, Jim Caviezel is a very devout Christian,
Yeah.
right? He's very
Hmm.
devout. And then the other actors, and I don't know all the actors in it, but this is
Hmm.
a righteous story, right? They're telling a righteous story about some horrifying acts, right? So
That's right.
there are people in this righteous story that have to play the bad guys, right? They
Yeah.
have to portray themselves as wicked and evil and doing some of those things,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
as an actor, even if you're cast as an evil person, as a
Hmm.
Christian, by being true to the actions that actually happened, you are
Right.
glorifying God because you're portraying it accurately. And that's that
Right.
juxtaposition is like, if I were cast in a part where I'm doing something evil, it depends
Hmm.
upon how that evil is portrayed. I can
Right.
act out doing evil only if the story shows it as evil and does not
That's right.
glorify the evil, right?
That's right. And that's the beauty of being an actor. You are not that character, you know.
Right.
However, there's certain people who come off a set, and if they're evil like a boll weevil, they're evil on the street, they're evil going home, they're evil at the
Mhm.
house, they're evil in the streets, they're evil in their actions and their words. See, that's the issue. You know, yeah, you can play whatever, you know, if you're committed to your job, and being an actor is a job.
Mhm.
You go in, you try to deliver the lines with the energy and the feeling that they need for this scene. However, you know, I think that the industry should be also fair. If a person played whoever, you know, you could bleed, you know, Jack the Ripper or whatever, but at the end they should not hold anything against anybody who says, you know, I played that role, had a great time. Yeah, I was crazy, but really, you know, thank God I'm happy to have had that opportunity, and praise the Lord for the millions that they paid me. I will be tithing off of that. Did you know that you know, you can there's so many opportunities, but at the same time, the question is, you know, did you leave that wicked character on the set, or is that something inside of you? Is that something that you want to, hey, let me tell you how evil I am, and you should be evil too? Oh, you should make that choice. Be as wicked as you want to. It's your life, you know.
Mm.
You can do it. Your body is your own. Be as wicked as you like, you know. And so, yikes, you know. So, me personally, I just think that, you know, there's so many good people, you know, in life. You know, you meet people and you go, man, that dude was a cool guy. He really was a wonderful person. And you think, you know, and when you hear these stories, and I could go on, I can go on and on and on about people I've met. And I mean, it was just like when I moved back to California in 1988. And when I moved back to Southern California, my parents had moved to North Carolina in 1980. So from 1980 to 1988, I was in North Carolina. A lot of crazy things happened. Big drug boom happened. Even if I had stayed here, I don't believe, I know for a fact I would never got caught up in nothing foolish like that. But it's just that there was a time where a lot of stuff happened in Hollywood, and with a lot of child actors and people, just, it was just a weird time. But when I came back for college, I moved back and I went into my old neighborhood, And one of the coolest things was I went and saw my block captain. He's since passed away. His name was Mr. Davis. And growing up in Long Beach on the west side, it was Mr. Davis right there on Delta Avenue where I grew up. And he was our block captain. So whenever there was, the block meeting, everybody would either go to his house and we had a potluck. And what he did for the youth on our block, he was always out there watering his grass. And if he saw a kid come by, he said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he would start to talk to you and kind of mentor you. And he said, hey, do you play what is it? Paddleball? Table? What is it? Table
tennis.
Yeah, table tennis. Yeah, man. Let me tell you, what he did. He was a master. Lord have mercy. Mr. Davis would make you cry. He literally make you cry. He would whoop you so bad on that table, but he would play and get faster and faster and faster. And man, and he really wanted to mentor the young guys and show them that this was a skill set. And at the same time, he also would witness to you. And he was always enlightening you to stay out of trouble and always tell the truth. And he was always witnessing. So when I came back in 1988, I went to my old neighborhood to go see him. And I said, "Hey, Mr. Davis, I'm back from college." And he says, "Hey, have you found a church?" I said, "No." And so he told me about Grace Church in Long Beach. And he said, "Man, you should go. That's where I go. And you should come by." I said, "Okay." So, when I was a little kid, he was always positive. So went by and soon I was like attending this church regularly. That was my church in Long Beach, Grace Community Church. And the beautiful thing was, after attending the church for a number of years, I was in college. I would go there every Sunday. Every Sunday I was there. And the pastor was a gentleman by the name of Pastor Dick Mayhew. And he was the pastor. And I mean, everybody loved him. He had been there for a number of years. And all of a sudden one day he said, "Hey, Rodney, I want to talk to you after service." "Oh, okay." So I'm talking to him. And he says, "I want you to meet me at my office on Monday. Can you come by?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm free." So I go by. And I sit down with Pastor Mayhew, and he said, "Rodney, I'm going to be leaving the church." And I was like, "Where are you going, Pastor?" And he's like, "Well, they want me to pastor another church in Phoenix, I believe it was, Arizona." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Man, we're going to miss you." And he says, "Yeah." He goes, "But you know what? I want to ask something of you." He goes, "I want you to go with me and be my understudy."
Whoa.
And I said, I thought he was kidding. I said, You're what?" He said, I want you to be my understudy. I want you to go with me. I'm going to open this church up." He goes, "It's already been established, but they want me to go there and build the church up. And I want you to go with me." And I said, "Pastor, I just enrolled in class." I said, "I'm in college." And he said, you can go to school there. You can transfer." And my head and my world started spinning. And I was thinking about this, and I said, "Well, Pastor," I said, I just got back to California. I was thinking about acting. I was already enrolled in college. I mean, this was just this was just a, excuse me, this was just a, a year or so in. I was just getting my feet wet. And one thing led to another. And I said, "Well, when are you going?" He's like in 2 weeks. And I was like, my world, I was trying to figure out how would I do all of this. And I just said, I told him, I said, "Pastor," I said, I have to think about it. And he says, "Well, let me know in a week." And I and I got back to him and I said, "Well, Pastor," I said, I'm kind of, trying to, my mom had passed away. I had promised Mom I was going to go to college. And I just kind of, I kind of I was trying to plant my young self here at 19, 20 years old. And I just said, "Well," I said, "Pastor," I said, "but maybe I can catch up to you at some point." And because, And that was one of those life regrets that I've always had. I said, what if
Oh, I was
he
going to
had
ask you.
them?
Yeah.
It's honest. I mean, I'll tell you another thing. After Pastor Mayhew left, I was into Charles Stanley. I was into gosh, I forgot. There's so many great pastors, but one pastor that always kind of resonated with me was Miles Monroe. And he was from the Virgin Islands.
Bahamas. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bahamas, yeah. And I'm telling you, I would watch him, and I'm telling you, I was this close. I had already started researching this time because when the Lord spoke to me, and I was watching him, and he had a Bible college down there, and I'm seriously, there were some things that had happened, nothing crazy, but I just had set in my mind. I said, Rodney, you're young, you're single, there's nothing stopping you. You got a little money in the bank. You could go do this. You can transfer that. I said, you know what? I'm on my way. I started researching, and then there was a plane crash, and he passed away.
Oh, that's right.
I'm telling you, Miles Monroe and his wife died. The whole plane went down.
That was in
I
the
cried.
90s. 90s?
Yeah, yeah. I cried. Oh my! I literally balled up on the floor and cried. And I said, I wanted to
Gosh.
go. But I wanted to be under his study, under his tutelage so bad. And I said, why? Why did he have to pass away? And I was like, that's another thing that's always been like a screwdriver just turning in me. And I was just like, whew.
Mm-hmm.
But so from that point, after I saw that, I said, okay, Rodney, you could have went with Pastor Mayhew. You were on your way down to, Miles Monroe's, school. And I just said seminary. And I was like, so I just said, and honestly, since I've been out here on my own since 1988, when I got here, I said, I kind of made a commitment. I said, Lord, I said, I don't have my big brother. I got a big brother. He's a few years older than me. He's 6'4". He used to have a fist of brass. I mean, I'm telling you, knocking somebody out and giving them the old 1-2 was not a problem for my brother. So, and I was like, but when I made that transition back to California for college, he remained in North Carolina. So I said, Lord, I'm out here on my own. I had made just honest. I said, I know I'm not going to make all the right decisions. I know I'm probably going to do things I'm not supposed to do. I'm young. I'm in college. However, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to always give me an escape. Please give me a big enough warning when enough is enough. Or just kind of let me kind of live. And I'm telling you, for me, that has been my saving grace. I've been able to kind of go through life.
There's a psalm that reminded me of a psalm when David, I don't know which psalm it is, but he says something to the effect, this, Lord, don't make me rich so that I would turn away from you, and don't make me poor so that I would be stealing, and dishonoring you, stealing bread. So it's like,
give me just
Lord.
enough.
Yeah,
right.
Keep me where I need to be. I want to, we got a minute and a half left,
Yeah.
but I want to reflect back on Miles Monroe. When you said Miles Monroe, it all came rushing back. I went to a 2-year Bible college in Long Island, New York in 1991 and 1992. And Miles Monroe came there. I think it was only once, but he made such an impression upon me. The guy was so charismatic and so has such authority and such joy, right? And I still remember one of the phrases that he said that stuck with me. God didn't begin when the beginning began. God began the beginning, right? He would just rattle off. God didn't begin when the beginning began. God began the beginning. And that's just a snippet of the way this guy would articulate the truth.
Sure did.
And I'm so glad, actually, that you mentioned that, because Miles Monroe was a tour de force. God used him mightily. And I had forgotten that he had passed. Rodney, it's good to see you, my friend. And
good to be here, brother.
We've got eternity ahead, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna hang out forever, so we're gonna get plenty more time like this.
Yep.
But I'm grateful that you are a part of This Way Network, that it's something that you consider important enough in your life to be consistent and hang out and bring on guests and hang out with Nina. Nina's amazing. I'm so glad that you
Yep.
guys have you got your groove, and it's just a blessing to have you and to be your friend, to have you as my friend, Lord.
God bless
Lord,
you.
thank you for Rodney, my good friend. And we're out. Bye, everybody.
See you later.
End.